Communication has a very important place in today's world. If we can convey to you the war that is happening on the one side of the world today, we are achieving this thanks to the communication, which is something that only ordinary citizens did. Countries at war, on the other hand, need communication more than ordinary citizens. Nowadays, there are various ways of this communication. There was a tower providing this communication in the Russian capital, Moscow. Thanks to the antennas located on the tower, both the Russian government and the Russian people benefit from the possibilities of communication. Or rather, it was taken advantage. The pioneer got an interesting information from its local sources in Russia. Well, of course, these are claims. However, the veracity of these allegations could leave the Russian government facing a major challenge. So much so that there may be a major disconnection in the communications of the both Russian government and the Russian people with the world. So what is this claim? Let's pass on the information we have obtained from our local sources to you. The pioneer compiles the information obtained from regional and international sources, turns into a report and presents it to you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so as not to miss these reports. I'm also reading all the comments you've made. Please continue to express your opinion about our content in the comments. If you're ready, let's start. The Pioneer reports. Recently, the city of Moscow was covered with black smoke during the night hours. The smoke was so thick that it could hardly see eye to eye. Local residents took the streets in the great panic. Many people were afraid of the possibility of a new drone attack. I have already mentioned in our reports many times before, the city of Moscow has been repeatedly hit by unmanned aerial vehicles. Therefore, many Moscovians are afraid of unmanned aerial vehicles. Moreover, the inability of the Russian government to prevent these attacks also scares Russian citizens. According to some claims, these events cause psychological problems for many of the Russian people. Let's get to our main topic. There is a rather tall building located in Moscow. This building is called Ostankino Tower. This building, located in the very center of the Russian capital, is very important to providing radio and television communication. A fire broke out near this building. The black smoke in question was rising from near this building. Since Russian official sources have not made any statements about this issue, we will focus on the claims of local sources. Some local sources claim that a large and a noisy explosion occurred in the warehouses located around the building. There is no information about what is in the warehouse in question. According to some sources, a fire occurred near the building. Just recently, this fire spread to electricity transmission lines located in the area. Therefore, a very big chaos environment have emerged. Was there any damage to the building in question? There are also lots of claims about this topic. Among these claims, the claim that the building was damaged is the most remarkable. The sources who made this claim are advocating the idea that communication in Moscow can be achieved with long-term disruptions. It is also quite remarkable that no measures have been taken to protect this building before. Many Russian sources state that the Russian citizens are angry with the Russian administration for not taking measures to protect such a critical building. As far as we understand, Russian citizens are very angry with the Russian government, that is the President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, because of what is happening in Moscow. But we cannot see the reflections of this anger. Two scenarios emerge here. Either Russian sources are lying about Russian citizens, or Russian citizens are afraid to repressive empire established by Russian leader Vladimir Putin. In our opinion, the probability that the second scenario is correct is higher. Investigations by the Russian security forces into the causes of the explosion or fire in question are continuing. Again, there are claims for Russian sources about the cause of the incident. As we have already mentioned, this building is almost the heart of the communication in Moscow. Therefore, any damage that may occur in the building may disrupt communication in the capital. Russian sources are focusing on the possibility that this explosion or fire was set off by separatist Russian groups. We have not encountered many attacks by the separatist Russian groups in recent days. The sleeper calls may have been activated. Obviously, we also think that the attacks targeting the building was carried out by the separatist Russian groups. However, it is worth waiting for the official announcement. But I think we should wait for this statement with the confidence that the Russian administration will hide this incident. The incident at the radio and television building in Moscow is still fresh. We need to continue to follow this incident. While we are following this incident, the Crimean Peninsula is also moving again. I think you can guess the focus of the activity on the Crimean Peninsula. You guessed right. The Kerch Bridge connecting the Crimean Peninsula to the Russian mainland was closed to traffic again in the morning. In order to understand the reason for the closure of the Kerch Bridge, we need to look at what happened the previous night. You remember the port of Sebastopol, both from our map reports and from our previous reports. There were quite violent explosions in Russian-occupied Sebastopol last night. Troops of the Ukrainian armed forces attacked a dry dock used for the ship repairs in the southern Gulf. It is reported that at least one Project 775 large landing craft belonging to the Russian army was damaged during this said attack. Information that appeared in the morning hours shows us that the Ukrainian Air Force carried out the attack. When we look at the images from the region, we can say that this attack in question was carried out with the Storm Shadow missiles. In addition, the commander of the Ukrainian Air Force, Mykola Oleszczuk, confirmed that these attacks on Sebastopol were carried out by the Ukrainian Air Force. After the attack on the port of Sebastopol located on the Crimean Peninsula, the Russian Operational Command located on the Crimean Peninsula announced that the entrance to the Kerch Bridge was closed. This shows how much the attack in question affects and scares Russia. Russian officials have announced that they will respond to this attack immediately, but there has not yet been any movement. Later, Kremlin spokesman Soloviev, who gave an interview to the television channel, announced that a large number of Russian armored vehicles were destroyed during this attack carried out by the Ukrainian armed forces. The Ukrainian Air Force inflicted heavy damage on the Russian naval forces with this operation. And what do you think? Who do you think is responsible for the incident in Moscow? Is there any damage to the radio and the television building? How can this affect communication in Moscow? Do you think the Russian people who are afraid of Putin? What are your thoughts on the incident that took place in the Crimean Peninsula? What do you think the situation may lead to the Black Sea? Mention it in the comments. I'm reading and caring about all your comments.